All right, guys. Shalom, shalom. It is good to be back. I've got to tell you, I have missed you, and some of y'all have missed me. Some of you haven't, but that's all good. It's all good. So what I want to do this evening is just kind of give a little bit of a report from our return from Israel, some quick background, maybe tell you a little bit about where we're going in the next probably 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. Got a number of different things on tap, some exciting things happening, and I want to share all of that with you right now. So hang on, here comes the intro. So, I guess as most of my viewers know, we went to Israel. We were planning Israel as a trip for the fall feasts, and we were really excited. At the same time, we were meeting a lady that was coming to meet us from the Germany area, and we had a fantastic trip. We arrived the 27th of September, and our exit date was planned to be October the 8th. And the trip itself was fantastic. We were there for most of Sukkot, the fall feast, and got a chance to see a lot of things. There will be a video coming up that's dedicated entirely to sharing some clips, some different things, some voice pieces that we took in different places, pictures, some short video clips, a lot of neat places, Capernaum, Azekah, which is David and Goliath, from Mount Carmel. Which interestingly now, being up on the mountain, you'd be able to see a lot of interesting things going on in the northern part of Israel. We spent a couple days right around the Sea of Galilee, the Kinneret, went up onto the Golan, had Sukkot, or spent an evening in the sukkah of Eliyahu Berkowitz, a good friend of mine who is a reporter for Israel 365 News, and we had a chance to enjoy time with him in his sukkah and do a little grilling. He was manning the grill. He's a chef from New York who made Aliyah a long time ago, and the only cooking he does now, besides using words on his computer and the internet, is occasionally for guests, and it was fantastic. Had a good time with him. Gamla, we hiked out to the Peace Overlook. We went all the way up to Tel Dan. So I've got clips of all these different places and things that we did, some thoughts at different places. Would love to introduce you more to the land, to some of the people, to the things that we did, what we got to see. We spent time in the Old City on both ends of the week that we were there, or we were there for more than a week, about 11 days. Well, as it turned out, we were scheduled to leave on the 8th, and of course the 7th, we were on the balcony there for Shabbat overlooking Jerusalem and watching Iron Dome rockets intercept incoming rockets from the Hamas operatives or the terrorists in Gaza. And that was the beginning of what is currently continuing to accelerate as potentially a global conflagration. It could be World War III eventually. I don't want that. But that certainly seems the direction this is headed as more and more players just keep getting involved and more involved. So we'll have to watch that from an eschatological standpoint. A lot of people have thoughts. I'm hesitant to put thoughts out there on it, basically because not everything is there to answer the Ezekiel 38:39 situation. And so I think we may be someplace else slightly in Scripture with Ezekiel 38:39 in the future, but I'm not sure how far out. But I'm not going to make big thoughts or predictions there. I do think that we are living in incredibly interesting and highly prophetic times. So what ended up happening is my flight and Kelly's flight, or the two of us traveling together, we were canceled, and so we did not get to fly out. However, My eldest son and Lily were able to fly out on the evening evening between the 7th and the 8th. So we took them to the airport, got them out, and then Kelly and I were well taken care of. We were very safe. We were protected in just the Father took care of us in an amazing way, gave us some lodging there, just an amazing family that took care of us. And we remained in the land until Wednesday of last week. Let's see. No, when did we fly out? We flew out on Monday, and it took us 2 days, 48 hours to get home. It was a long trip home with 2 long layovers, one in Athens and one in New York City. All unplanned, but the Father took care of details at every step. It was really kind of cool to walk through all of that. But that was the situation that we had and our trip to Israel. So I still absolutely believe that we need to make trips to the land. We need to go and taste the fruit of the land. We need to go walk the land. We need to go spend time with the people who are in the land and get to know them. I know there's a lot of division over who's supposed to be there and who's not. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not the judge. That's not my job, and I don't spend time trying to figure out who is and who isn't. Instead, I recognize that the Father has done something amazing in restoring the land, and He's put amazing marks of success that indicate His presence in the midst of it. And He always uses men and almost always uses men and operates through situations for the purpose of accomplishing His will. So ultimately, yes, there's some more cleaning up that has to happen. That's between Him and them. That's not my job. I'm not the judge. I'm just obedient to what the Word says. And the Word says, go up. And so as often as we can, we will continue to make that trek. I will be putting together a video how to go up to Israel fairly inexpensively, how to go see the land without having to pay exorbitant prices through a travel agency and then rush from one hotel to the next and rush from one bus stop to the next bus stop. Instead, take it at your own pace. Go see what you can, enjoy it, take your time, drink it all in for as many days as you can be there, and then plan on going back, maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years. You can save and use your tithe money for that. You don't need to be giving all your tithe money away. It's good to do that with some of it, but actually Scripture specifically says that a portion of it is to be used for the feasts. So why not plan on going up? That's a good thing. So that video will be coming up. That's one of the things coming up, and I'm excited about doing that. It's going to take me some time to edit and put all of that together. So I have to tell you, I'm not necessarily excited about the editing process. I need an editorial team, right? That just takes a lot of time. But I do have all of that. It's stored on my phone and stored on a external hard drive that I took with me and had my laptop and that sort of thing. Other things of interest that I want to share with you. Patreon. Now, I know we have a number of people here who are members of our Patreon. We really, really appreciate your support. Patreon has recently altered their situation a little bit such that you can join as a free member. You can't see everything. You can't access everything, but you can get a taste of what goes on behind the scenes in terms of some of the free content that I do put on my Patreon. Not all content is free. Most content is behind, I'd say probably 2/3 to maybe 3/4 of the content is behind the membership tiers at one level or another, most of which is accessible at the lowest level, which is like $3 a month. It's really cheap. For a cup of coffee, $5 a month, you can access not just our Patreon, but all of the Telegram, several of the Telegram groups that we've got that are private, but it's people who are like-minded, who are learning and growing and discussing and praying for each other and staying in contact with the news and being able to pass along and share particularly family and patriarchy and polygyny-related content, and being able to discuss that. And so I'm excited about that and excited about where we're going as a group. A lot of mature brothers and sisters in that group, some of whom actually I look up to as elders for myself, which is an interesting place to be, where operating and being a teacher, but also having the blessing of some incredible other men around me that can help and support and encourage and strengthen and give me wisdom and these sorts of things. So all of that is available in our Patreon and in our Telegram groups. The Telegram groups they're available to anyone who's at the $5 a month level. But like I said, there is free membership there for some content, and you're welcome to sign up as a free member. I would encourage that. Other things, I've got this coming Friday. It's my understanding. Now, I just did it. It's already in the can. We have recorded it, but I did an hour and 45-minute interview with Rob Kowalski. You go to Rob, I think it's robbkowalski.com. But he has done a lot of work in terms of building family, and particularly in terms of maintaining or encouraging people to maintain virginity and not be promiscuous as they wait for marriage. However, in the last probably 4 or 5 months, the Father has really taught him a lot with regards to polygyny. And he's got a burn for it, and he's trying to get some traction right now in terms of learning and growing and sharing the things that he's growing. It's fantastic. It's fun to watch. And I've watched a number of his recent podcast and YouTube content that is specific to the subject of polygyny, speaking with both or interviewing people who are both positive and those who are negative, and some who say, hey, scripturally it's not, how's the right way to say this? He says it's impossible to make it a sin based on Scripture. Okay, Scripture, nowhere in Scripture is it ever declared a sin, though at least one of his, maybe more than one of his guests have basically said, yeah, it's not a sin, but it's not a good idea. And then there are others that have been on there, myself included, that says not only is it a good idea, but it is the path forward for correcting the ills of our culture and our society. And it is the path forward for women who are looking for a good man and are looking out there and finding that there's not a whole lot, that many of the good men have already been developed and are married, etc. Well, the solution is polygyny. We did an interview last Thursday or Friday, and it must have been Thursday, had to be Thursday. Did an interview last Thursday, and it should be going up on his YouTube channel, and I think I'm going to mirror it on mine this Friday. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. Should be a really, really good interview. And in that, there's some details of some of the things that have changed in our circumstance, such that we are walking out what we have been teaching, and that's fantastic. So very excited about that. I am a blessed man. However, I have a friend whose handle is a blessed man, so I can't really use that completely. But I'm blessed. We'll put it that way. Another thing is that we are getting ready to open up some content in Portuguese. I do not speak Portuguese. However, I now have a full-time translator and somebody who is well-versed in the material that I teach. And she is going to be able to help me with Portuguese content, and there's no question the Father's been pushing us or leading us toward, has been leading me prior to even meeting this wonderful lady, but has been leading me toward reaching into Central and South America, particularly through the Portuguese avenue into Brazil and the global population that is very large of Brazilians as well as Portuguese speakers from other nations. So that is part of what is coming up in the very near term. Also, my first wife, Kelly, we've been married for 32 years, plus or minus. We're very close to that right now. She and I are working on some things that are able to, particularly through our Telegram, but also through one-on-one contact with ladies who are learning and understanding headship and patriarchy, and particularly wives who are struggling with the idea that their husband suddenly has this new understanding and scripture, and he's growing, and they need to grow with him. And so she's had a lot of opportunity recently to be able to reach out and encourage some of these ladies and walk with them and say, hey, it's going to be okay. Been there. And it's a challenging road, yes, but absolutely, the Father's good and blessings come with it. So that is part of what's coming up as well. Let's see. Also, I have recently been in contact with author and pastor Don Milton, who has written multiple books, has been studying and I believe walking out polygyny for a number of years, and he is going to be a subject of an interview, maybe a YouTube Live in the very near future. So that's coming up. I've got a list of other topics and things. I know for Patreon, I've got some really neat things coming up, some video ideas that are going into the Patreon. And so we're going to be talking about dynamics of poly and polarity, some of the things that I've learned just in the last 3 or 4 weeks as our situation in our family has changed and my family has grown. We're also going to talk about at some point in the very near future in our Patreon, we're going to talk about details of how things came about. I'm going to speak both with Kelly, my first wife, and we will talk with Lily, my second, and get each of that. And then she will be here soon when we can have a sit down with all three of us in front of camera and have conversations. So I'm excited about that. Let's see. Other topics that we have coming up. Something that's been burning in me for a while that I look forward to. Maybe you can start chewing on this prior to me jumping on it in video. But who are the modern day Pharisees? I have been called a Pharisee on multiple occasions, and yet I look at what the definition is in Scripture and I go, it's not even possible. Not even possible. So it's something that I want to cover and talk about who are the modern day Pharisees. And we're going to look at that. I want to, let's see. I've still got some other topics that I need to go back and wrap up. I need to do the third part in the series for the Angel of the Lord. I've had multiple requests for that, and I need to go back. I've been asked to do some book reviews on some of the books that I've read. There are literally, my shelf, I've probably got about 40 different books on polygyny, and I've read all or most of all of them. And so it's a good library. I've referred to a lot of these, and in my blog, notsav.com, the link is down below. You can go to the biblical marriage page, and there are a lot of resources that are listed there. Some of the top books that I'm aware of, books that I've read, highly recommended. That's a good place to go look. But I'd like to do some book reviews on some of those. There is a book that I'm reading right now called The End of Woman, and it deals with the fact that feminism is rooted in the occult, and feminism is hell-bent on destroying all of culture and ultimately civilization. Shouldn't come as a surprise to us because feminism started in Gan Eden with the adversary looking at Hava, Eve, and saying, hath God said? And so we should not be surprised at all when you start studying the roots of feminism and recognizing that the roots of feminism go directly into, and they're easily traceable, straight into the occult and straight into occultists that started first wave feminism and then pushed it forward through what is now called roughly fourth wave feminism. But the result is, or the desire of feminism, and what we're seeing now play out, is the destruction of culture and humanity. So we're going to cover that. Lots of other good stuff coming up, but that's going to give you kind of a direction and an overview for the next month or two. Some of the things that are happening. I do not just the interview that I did with Rob Kowalski, but I'm looking forward to having him on here. And then there are probably some other families. I've got some plural families in the wings that are going to be willing to step out into the sunshine a little bit, share a little bit about their lives, and that's a goal. Also, for those of you who are interested, I would recommend, if you're not already a member of biblicalfamilies.org, I would recommend you take a look at that. But more importantly, at least contact them at, I think it's retreats@biblicalfamilies.org. Get on their list, because we've got the winter retreat is coming up. It's going to be in Las Vegas, middle of January, more or less. You want to get on the list for that if you want to have an opportunity to attend. The retreats don't cost anything apart from your expense for food and lodging and travel, what have you. The retreat itself is free. We typically take up a little bit of an offering just to cover the basic expenses for our meeting rooms or whatever. Great opportunity to meet a bunch of other like-minded believers. We're not necessarily all cut from the same cloth. Christian, Torah-keeping, Messianic, a little bit of everything in the Christian side, from Pentecostal all the way to possibly even Catholic, I think. So really from all ends of the spectrum. But we gather together so that we can meet and support and encourage each other in the one area that the Father has us all in the same track, and that is biblical headship and patriarchy, and understanding what marriage is in Scripture and what it is not, as we see in culture and Christendom. So, all of that to say, a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'm excited to be back. I think today's the first time I really feel, or maybe yesterday afternoon was the first time I started feeling like the jet lag was behind me. Today, definitely rocking. Right now, it's about 7:30 in the evening, and I'm not falling over about to go to sleep. Instead, I'll be editing this video and getting it up. Gotta pack a couple books for some new patrons that have been patiently waiting while I was out. I've got to get those signed and get those shipped out. New t-shirt designs. If you go into the show notes, you'll see there are two different Zazzle accounts. One is for Natsav, the other for Polygyny. Both of them have good t-shirt designs. And I just put up a new t-shirt design today that one of our members in the Patreon designed. Fantastic young lady who is a graphic artist and had a great idea. Put it together. Beautiful. It's now on a t-shirt. So Olivia's got wives. So that's a fun one. I ordered one for myself today. I know tonight I'm wearing one of my original For King and Kingdom t-shirts, but looking forward to getting that one so that I can wear it wear it out and about in the local economy, just because I enjoy tweaking people's noses with truth. It's a lot of fun. Be bold, take a strong stand, learn the truth, get the details, and then take a bold stand. I'm telling you what, people are looking for truth and they're looking for boldness. And what we need less of is beta males, and we need less of people who are cowering in the corners. We need to stand up for truth, stand up against the culture crazy, and walk out the things that the Father's called for us to do. And do it unashamedly, unabashedly, unapologetically. I really don't care. Do not give a rip what other people think. I can defend it from Scripture. I know it's what the truth is from the Most High, and I really don't care. Not worried about it. So come walk with me. Come walk with us. Would love to have you in the Patreon. Would love to have you in our Telegram groups. But if nothing else, absolutely share a video. Go back and research. Go look through the stuff that we're talking about. Learn and study, grow, be an ambassador for the King and for the kingdom. So glad to be back and glad to be with you this evening, and looking forward to having more content going up in this next week or 10 days. So tomorrow night, I will be putting together a video for the patrons. It'll be a patron-only video called Breaking the Sound Barrier, and it's going to talk about some of the connections between or the rough air as you get closer to stepping into poly, and then how things can potentially smooth out. If you've done your homework, the way it smooths out on the other side, and some of the dynamic that happens immediately, the change that happens, and just the blessings that immediately start to flow from that. So that's going to be tomorrow night on Patreon. That's my goal. So, all right, guys, for King and Kingdom, I bid you shalom.